What's up, guys? Park here, and today I wanted to share with you guys a story of something that happened to me, some feedback specifically that I was given after my raid with my guild last night, my thoughts on what happened, and how I plan to approach and deal with this situation. So, to give you guys a little bit of backstory, if any of you guys have ever been curious, my guild has been taking very much so baby steps into mythic content. We have struggled to maintain a roster for a variety of reasons. A lot of it has been real life issues. We've had some folks that have gone on to higher education, gotten different jobs at different times, folks that have just gotten burnt out with the game. Some folks have moved on to bigger, better, brighter things. Other folks have simply stopped playing. But by and large, we've had a huge issue with maintaining a roster. And it has plagued us for expansions now. Ever since the end of Wrath of Lich King, which is just like this curse upon my guild, where we just cannot maintain a roster. And we will sit steadily anywhere between 12 to 15 players. And we just cannot hold on to people. And one of the things that I've kind of prided myself, maybe a little bit to my detriment, is that we do any and everything that we can in order to make sure that those that are willing to show up, those that are willing to put forth the time and effort, but may not necessarily have the best gear, are given a little bit of help when it comes to the guild. Specifically, we do run an alt, or if your main needs it, gear run for normal Hellfire Citadel, usually on Sundays. The plan is that would be our progression night for mythic raiding. Obviously, Tuesday and Thursday we would clear whatever farm content, at least specific to my guild, and then that third night we would then push and kind of clean up what we could. So, with that backstory, let's go to yesterday. We clear heroic content with a host of new people. Everything's looking good. And I talk to my officers and I say, all right, guys, what do we want to do for the rest of the night? Because we have several hours to kill where we have nothing planned. And truth be told, I'm really not interested in doing an alt run. We're kind of getting burnt out on it. We're getting bored. What do you guys want to do? And both of my officers intervene for the new folks, and they say, no, let's bring all of the mains, all of the main raiders that raid heroic, let's get them in a normal run, and let's just burn through it as quickly as possible. No bullshit, no alts, nobody that doesn't need to be in here. Those that do need it have first dibs. They have anything that they want, because the guys that are doing heroic content that are burning through here don't need it. Alright, so let's do it. So we spend a good hour and a half, and we clear from start to finish 13 out of 13 normal. And we have a blast. We have a ton of fun. We're killing bosses. We're playing around. However, as we're killing bosses, I'm still, as the guild leader, as the raid leader, I'm also making sure that the guys are, while having fun and while, their things are a little lax as far as how strenuous and how detailed we have to be with the strategies, there is a little bit of strategy that we still need to follow so that we don't just wipe on something stupid. So after the raid, one of my officers messages me and he says, hey, can we talk in the private officer channel? Not a problem. Pretty much standard operating procedure is after the weekly raid, we kind of all three of us get together and I go, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Where do we want to go next week? And one of the guys tells me, says, hey, I got some feedback from 2 people in the guild that were in the raid tonight. I'm not going to tell you who they are for fear of you seeking retribution on them. Ironically enough. But both of them have expressed tonight the fact that they feel that you were too abrasive to them in the raid. And after speaking to both officers for a few minutes, what I was told was that while we were performing normal Hellfire Citadel, I called out several people that made glaring mistakes during boss fights, and that some of those people took offense to that. And truthfully, when I was told this, my initial reaction was that of complete surprise. However, after thinking about it over the past day, because it has been something that has plagued my mind for the past day, what fills me no longer with this this surprise feeling in my head, in my gut, has turned to very much so disappointment. So let me walk you guys through my thought process, kind of where I'm at, so that I can share with you guys how to handle this situation. So first and foremost, let's start from the beginning. My guild is doing everything that they can to gear up 2 or 3 newer folks that need desperately the gear, that have shown they can show up, but they are rocking item level 670, 680, 690, and the rest of us are 630, 640. We are more than capable of getting into mythic content if we had the roster. Then we step to the fact that there was fear that I would seek some kind of retribution, that I would inflict some type of punishment, that I would punish anyone for sharing something like that. And this, I'm telling you, as a leader, is something that cannot and should not ever happen. As long as the people that you are put in charge of, or the people that have placed you in charge of them, in the case of being a guild leader, this is a game that people pay for, and they're going to pick and choose who their leadership is, either via revolt or via finding another guild. But when you are placed in charge of a group of people, if they express something to you, you should take it, you should handle it, and then you should move on, regardless of what it is, as long as it's done in a very tactful way, as long as nobody's bad-mouthing you, calling you an asshole, you fucking suck, etc., etc. There should be no issue with this. That was something that kind of disappointed me. And then we step to the major glaring issue, which is this. You, as a member of a raiding team, have made a mistake. You've made a mistake on content that you have been in for 9 months, that you have cleared fully this content for 9 months, that you are now clearing it again on an easier setting, and you are still messing up on mechanics that should be very much so trivial. And this right here is the bread and butter of what I'm talking about today, is the fact that you, as a raider, if you intend to raid, you should expect a few things. You should expect, 1, that if you screw up on a fight, you will be reprimanded. Whether that means that you are told, do not do that again, that you are whispered, whatever the case might be, that you are going to be reprimanded or the issue is going to be addressed. The fact that this was normal content and we are a guild that has cleared heroic content already this week is what makes the difference here. If this was a first-time raider, if this was one of those guys that needed gear, which we confirmed it was not, I was told that it was a raiding member of my guild that had been with the guild for at least several months. So, with that in mind, This is content that's trivial. This is content that you should not be messing up on. This is easy stuff. This is stuff that should never, ever, ever be an issue because you've done it 9 months times 4 raids at least. That's 36 raids at least. And you're talking just on one difficulty. We're not talking doing it on LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic. We're talking on one difficulty per week, and that's it. And the fact is that if there is an issue with a fight that you don't understand, again, we're going to fall back to, if there's an issue and you don't understand it and you're standing in fire, if you don't understand, the Doom debuff for Manaroth, if you don't understand the Rock Chaos, if the Shackle Torment, whatever the case might be for Archimond, whatever the raid mechanic is, if you don't understand it and after 9 months you're still having issues with it, then either you are simply ignoring it and hoping that you don't get selected, which is a horrible way to raid, or the more than likely issue here is that you do not know what you're doing and you have allowed yourself to consistently and constantly screw up. And to expect as a raiding member of a successful raiding guild that intends to push into mythic content, if you intend to do that and you are going to allow yourself to become offended, or as my Marine side would say, butthurt over something so simple and trivial as your guild leader saying, hey, don't stand in the fire that you know you don't need to stand in for the past 36 fucking times we've done this, then you should evaluate what your intentions are for raiding, because it is as simple as that. If you willingly are going to allow yourself to mess up on mechanics, or you have messed up and it was an honest-to-God accident, and you expect the issue to not be addressed, that the glaring discrepancy to not be brought up, if you expect to each and every single time get away clean with screwing up without any of your guild leadership doing anything about it, either you're smoking crack or your guild leadership is doing a piss poor job of fixing issues, and more than likely you are not a successful raiding guild. So as a raider, what does that mean? That means that if you mess up on something, you should fully expect for that issue to be addressed. And if that issue is not addressed, meaning your guild leadership either has missed it, is not paying attention, or is not doing their job, you need to address it. Again, we fall back into that ignorance versus stupidity. If you screw up on something, it needs to be fixed. And your guild leadership's job and your raid leadership's job, if they are separate, in my guild it is not. I am the raid leader, I'm the guild leader. I have 2 officers that handle certain issues. If you screw up, you should expect to be addressed if you intend to be a good raider. And that is the way it should be. So, what are we going to do moving forward? Well, I can tell you, tomorrow for the server reset, once we sit down, I'm going to say this exact same message to my raiders. That you guys have raided with me for at least several months now. That I am disappointed that you could not come to me to speak your mind about this. That you are expected to perform at a mythic level because we intend to go into mythic content. So it is not acceptable to mess up on normal. And I don't mean you miss one interrupt. I mean raid wiping mechanics on boss fights. Putting green fire in the wrong spot for Zul. Putting green and purple fire right next to each other. Driving Rock Chaos through the middle of the raid. Not going down to deal with the ads for Archimon. Just silly things that, aren't really that big of a deal, but they really are a big deal because they will wipe a raid. And that's what you as a raider should expect. Hopefully you guys like what I'm saying here. If you do, give this video a like. If you'd like to see more content like this, please, by all means, hit that subscribe button. It most definitely, I cannot tell you, we actually got another subscriber, I guess today. And I cannot tell you guys how motivating it is to see that number slowly rise and to go, holy crap, there is another person that actually wants to see what I'm saying here. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Both of those things motivate me so much, guys. And until next time, I'll see ya.